Time to set the record straight about World War II. Anyone who studies this period will be subject to a barrage of propaganda that it was the Americans and the British that overthrew Nazi Germany. But is that really true? Well, we discussed that in the latest edition of In Defense of Marxism. And we go into what really happened. As discussed in this editorial by Alan Woods, it wasn't the Americans and British. They actually stayed out of the war for as long as they possibly could have. The main front was the Eastern Front, between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. It was the Soviets who fought the biggest battles in this war. It was the Soviets who liberated Auschwitz and marched into Berlin. And ultimately, it was the Soviet Union that defeated Hitler. Now, this wasn't due to the leadership of Stalin. He was a bumbling dictator and made a whole series of mistakes that gave Nazi Germany the upper hand. It was the working class and peasants of the Soviet Union that fought to preserve the planned economy and the gains of the October Revolution. And these people are the unspoken heroes of this war, and not just in the Soviet Union, but across Europe. In Italy, it was a similar story. It was a partisan struggle of working class fighters in Italy that overthrew the Mussolini dictatorship. They were the ones who executed Mussolini. They're the ones who overthrew his government. They were never talked about because the people leading this struggle were communists. And then France, it was another similar story. It was a partisan movement of working class French fighters that overthrew the Vichy regime. And they were also led by communists. In both Italy and France, there was actually an opportunity for the working class to take power. You could have had socialist revolutions in these countries after World War II, but they were betrayed by the reformist parties and the Stalinist parties. This issue of In Defense of Marxism goes into these titanic events, and it pulls out the lessons for revolutionaries to use today. This issue also has an article by Ted Grant, which explores the new balance of forces in world politics after World War II. After the war, America became the dominant capitalist power on Earth. It set the stage for this whole period of American rule that lasted for decades. Its only rival on the world scale was the Soviet Union. Ted Grant discusses how this situation emerged in detail. And for any film lovers out there, this issue also includes an article on the Italian neorealist movement. It explores the impact that the war had on this landmark movement in film history. And if you want this issue, and make sure you don't miss a single other issue of In Defense of Marxism, go to marxist.ca/subscribe and get your subscription today.